Hi everyone! Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I'm very excited because I have been talking about this project lots on my channel. If you're new or you haven't seen some of my vlogs, this is a foundation project that the students at Emily Carr get to do. And yeah, this video might be a little bit long because I definitely tried to show my whole process throughout this whole thing, so designing and prepping the board and painting and blah 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 blah. So with that being said, there will be times linked into the description box in case you want to jump ahead. And yeah, let's get into the video.
Okay, so before I start any big project, I'm always in my sketchbook roughly doing the concept and ideas and just figuring out the layout and everything. And I feel like once I have a good idea, it's a lot easier to work on the final without feeling like I'm going to be messing up and stuff. And I will be talking about my concept later on in the video, but as you can see here, I'm just using lots of reference photos, some from the internet and then some that I took myself. I always have pictures that I can refer to. It just makes the whole process a lot easier. And as you can see, I imported that sketch into Procreate. Just playing around with the colors digitally is just a lot easier because, you know, there's no commitment. You can change anything in a matter of seconds versus traditionally you can't. So yeah, definitely a good tool to use for planning big projects like this. So as you can see, my final sketch is very stylized and kind of borderline cartoony, and that was the look that I was going for. I kind of wanted something like graphic for the skateboard, but the only paint I had at home was oils, which I usually use for like painting something more realistic, but it really just wouldn't have worked for this project and it would take so long to dry, so I ended up going to Opus to get some acrylic paints.
Cool and kinda not wanna give myself to you. Yeah, we're driving down the freeway at night. I only got one thing in the back of my mind. I'm feeling like this might be my time to shine with you, with you, with you. I got my head out the sunroof. I'm blasting our favorite tunes. I only got one thing on my mind. You got me stuck on the thought of you. You're making me feel brand new. You're more than in my eyes. I got my head out the sunroof. You got me stuck on the thought of you.
Boom! Got some paints. Welcome back to my room. I need a bigger space. This is actually insane. I have like my lights and cameras and everything, and all this paint's on the floor, and I have literally no room to work on this, but that's okay. We'll make this work. I picked up some acrylic paints from Opus. Also, fun fact, Emily Carr students, and I think any art student, they get a 15% off discount. So yeah, can't go wrong with that. Opus is the best. Even though their stuff is ridiculously expensive, but that's art supplies in general. RIP. Anyways, yeah, acrylic paint. This is pretty standard. I didn't get anything too fancy. Literally says standard series, so yeah. I got lots of colors though, so I'm very hyped. But before I start painting, I do need to prep my board. So, let's go. Okay, I know you're probably wondering, Alex, why are you on the floor? You probably have tables at home. You have one right behind you. Guys, I don't have a good explanation. I'm a floor person. I don't know. I can't work at tables because there's just not enough room. I have to have everything sprawled in front of me. So yeah, anyways, I've also, like I said, prepping this board right now. I'm trying to sand some of the scuffs that I made on it because I had to do some, yeah, shove-its on here. It was just too irresistible not to, and yeah, now it's kind of ruined, but yeah, nothing a little sandpaper won't fix. So I'm gonna do some rough grid and then work my way up to some of the finer stuff. And then I will put gesso on here. And then it will be all primed and ready to go. So yeah, let's prime this board. Okay, so finally on to the priming of the board. For those of you who don't know, gesso is a primer, and basically, oh my god, I can't even get it open. Ah, what the fuck? Okay, 1 second. Okay, finally open. That took a while. I'm just gonna water it down just a tiny bit and just start painting it on the board. And you guys can't even see that. I actually suck at filming things. It's a lot harder than people think it is. Okay, welcome back. I'm on my second layer. You can still see some wood peeking through because my first layer was a bit watered down, like not much, just a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to my second layer like I just said. And I'm going to make the gesso a little bit thicker, but not by much. And yeah, gesso is a really good primer. You can use it for like a lot of surfaces. I think wood, canvases, I believe you can use it on fabrics. It's not a tutorial. I really don't ever know what I'm doing. I kind of just wing it and hope for the best. That's like my life motto, I swear. But yeah, pretty simple, pretty easy, and very, very satisfying. Okay, I also never let paint dry by itself. I always use a hair dryer because I'm lazy and I also don't have any time at all. So, hair dryer, you're oh shit, just smudged it. No, no. Oh my god, I actually hate myself. Okay, anyways.
Okay, I know it might seem a little bit strange to start painting before actually even sketching everything out on the board, but just hear me out, don't worry. I thought that it would save me some time in the long run doing the background first, just so I wouldn't have to do an ombre around a pre-existing character, because that would have been way, way too hard. So yeah, look at me actually being smart for once. I need you to appreciate it, because it really doesn't happen a lot. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about my concept that I am drawing on my board right now, because it is very, very much Vancouver inspired, if you haven't already realized from looking at my rough sketch, but you know, you'll see more of the details later on. There's the sky train and the mountains and the cityscape in the back and everything like that, and I honestly haven't done anything like even Canadian related in my art or like Vancouver inspired, even though that's like, you know, a big part of like me and my identity. So I thought it'd be cool just to do something like that. And yeah, my main idea was kind of like someone daydreaming on the SkyTrain and them reaching for this lottery ticket, but then being smashed back into reality of their world. So, I mean, everyone can relate to daydreaming on the SkyTrain, so yeah, it was fun to do. As for like the actual part of drawing this on the board, it was a lot easier than I expected, just because when I tried to erase things, it actually erased properly and it wasn't leaving those gross like smudges. So the process of like sketching it out on the board was a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be.
Okay, my board is finally prepped. Now my favorite part. Let's start painting.
So it's been a hot minute since I picked up some acrylic paint. I honestly kind of forgot what it was like to have paint dry like almost immediately. So for this whole painting, you can see a common theme of me laying down like around 3 tones of whatever color I'm working with. I always start with like either the dark or middle tone, and then I work my way up. I don't really blend the colors a lot, and that was just kind of the style that I was going for as well, but it was really helpful, again, not to blend things because it was less stressful that way. This also kind of fit in with my whole theme of having more of a stylized approach to this board. I also find when you have like a general idea of how you're going to lay colors down, it can be a lot less intimidating. Because yeah, painting, there's like endless amounts of techniques that you can use and you can achieve and accomplish with even the most minimal amount of colors, that yeah, it can be super overwhelming, and just paring it down and having 3 shades or tones that you're working with is super helpful, and that's what I do all the time. So as you can see, I'm working on the hoodie and I'm laying down, I think, the middle kind of tone of this salmon color. Then I go into a tone that's like a little bit lighter, and then I think I go in and work on the shadows, and then I do the highlights like last. But that's the step that I like the most, and I always save for last because you can really emphasize whatever you're painting and really make it like jump out at you. So that's what I kind of tried to do with this character. I made sure that the light hitting the sleeves kind of seemed like the person was really grabbing for this lottery ticket. I think this technique also allows the painting to look more, I guess, fresh and less like overworked. I know if you aren't an artist, it's kind of hard to see if a painting's overworked or not, but it just kind of looks like muddy and like that person had to go back and cover up their mistakes one too many times, which is okay to a certain extent. But I'm just saying this technique kind of eliminates that struggle because you're just painting big blocks, and it's, yeah, again, it's just a bit more stylized and you have room for a bit more creativity. You don't have to make everything seem and look like overly realistic. So yeah. And with that being said, I would like to jump to the Q&A segment of this video. These are questions that you guys asked me through my Instagram. So yeah, first question, what was the most challenging part while customizing your skateboard? I would say it was either coming up with the concept in general, like in the first place, or drawing it out on the board. And now I know I'm going to kind of contradict myself because earlier I said it was pretty easy to draw this whole thing out, but no matter what I'm working on, drawing the final like sketch is so hard and stressful for me because I know if I don't draw it like to my satisfaction, I won't like how the painting looks. And I didn't film this part, but I had to redraw this face like 20 times. Like, I was so frustrated, and usually drawing faces is something that I really, really like to do. But yeah, I got super frustrated. I hated how it looked. I hated the expression. I had to redraw the eyes like a billion times, but I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, it's good enough, whatever. So when I painted over it, I just made sure that I took my time and I really focused on the details and like proportions of the face. Even though it is stylized, the proportions still make a difference. So yeah, and then I ended up being satisfied with like how it looked once it was all done and completed, but definitely took a while. Okay, next question. What does your creative process look like? So it really depends what I'm working on. However, whether it's a painting, a drawing, a video, like whatever it is, I always sketch or plan my ideas first, because I find if I don't have a plan or like a vision of what I'm going to do, my art really never turns out. So once I have a plan, everything rolls smoothly. Other than that, my creative process is filled with lots of reference photos because I always need those. And I always try to do my best to work on concepts and like subjects that inspire me so that I never feel bored of what I'm doing. And I find that when I'm inspired, my process is just a lot easier and more fun. Next question. What's the outside of classes community like at Emily Carr? I've heard it's lacking because there are no dorms. Okay, so I've wanted to talk about this for a really long time now because it is definitely very interesting. I don't have any like other reference because obviously I've never been to any other university. This is my kind of first experience with that. So I can't really say, well, at UBC, it's like blah, 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 because I've never been to UBC. However, there are obviously no parties, like no dorm parties, which I know are huge in UBC, SFU, UVic, all that, those kind of big schools. So it's just interesting. The student life is kind of lacking in that sense, because another big factor is like people are commuting from like everywhere in the lower mainland, and it can be hard to hang out with people outside of classes, and it's even harder when you only have class like 1 day a week, but you really have to make do with what you got and make an effort to meet up with people and connect, because that's also a big part of art school, just making friends and connections in the long run, because we're all going to be artists, we're all getting a degree, and people are going to be artists in like, different fields, and it's just cool to have connections and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's something I'm kind of working through right now, and I definitely need to make more of an effort to like hang out with people. But yeah, you make do with what you got. Next question. Where is a good place for opportunities for artists in Vancouver? I would say Vancouver is one of the most art-focused cities in Canada. I mean, you can fight me in the comments, but we have mural festivals, and the animation and film industries are really big here. You always see big movies being filmed in Vancouver. So there are a lot of opportunities for like professional artists, but also there are lots of opportunities for like students or people who are doing art more for like a side hustle or whatever, through like conventions and smaller art shows and like farmers markets and stuff. So you kind of have to get creative with like how you approach those opportunities, but they're definitely here. Okay, next question. What aspect of art do you find the most challenging or want to improve on? This is a super, super hard question, but I think if you would have asked me this maybe a couple years ago, it would have been like, oh, practicing hands or like learning how to draw facial expressions, which still to a certain extent, I'm like, yes, I definitely need to improve on those things. But right now I'm kind of thinking more about how to improve on like selling my art and more of the business side of art, because it's been something that I've been thinking about for a while now. I want to make art my full-time career, and like, how can I do that? So definitely starting an Etsy and like becoming a small business and really learning how to sell myself as an artist. So yeah, I think at the beginning, getting your name out there is quite challenging, but you know what? I'll continue to work on it. Okay, last question. Was the competition for admissions high at Emily Carr? To be honest, I still don't really know, because I was stressing out about that a lot when I was building my portfolio, and I was looking online, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it said like the acceptance rate's around 40%, but like everyone I knew who applied got in. So I'm not quite sure how accurate all the numbers are online, but I would suggest to just be confident and content with what you're submitting in your portfolio, and then, the rest doesn't really matter too much. Just know that the school or institution that you're at doesn't define you as an artist, and you can be a professional artist without going to art school. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. If you're satisfied with your art, I'm sure the admissions team for whatever school you're applying for is also liking your work. So yeah. So as you can see, I am finishing up the painting. And I know this is it's been a quick kind of time-lapse video format, but this did take me a couple weeks to do, so art always takes a lot longer than like what people show online. But I had a lot of fun painting this, and I really, really want to do more skateboard decks in the future. This board will be part of Emily Carr's foundation show, I think. So it'll be cool to see what like my friends come up with and other students. So I'll definitely keep you guys updated in my vlogs for that, so stay tuned. I also had a lot of fun painting something that I wanted to do. Doing lots of school projects, it's great, but you kind of lose your motivation, so this was definitely a nice change. And for the moment you've all been waiting for, here is the final reveal.
Well, how do I take your word well over his? Yeah, how do I take it for less than it is? Tore down the walls, try my best to lay you in. Yeah, how was I supposed to know what you had? What you had? Yeah, no, I shouldn't get jealous, but the caller with the hard eyes, it gets me hellish, try to look at it through my eyes. The thought of you with him is staring out my insides. Waiting, knowing there's no staying. Can't remember why I tried, so don't you lie, 'cause you're running out of
Okay everyone, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions about my skateboard, feel free to comment them down below. And if you want to see some more close-up shots or pictures, go see my Instagram. I have lots of pictures uploaded there, and then some like TikTok reels and stuff. So yeah, pretty fun. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!